You ever feel like your savings are just sitting there? You've got a big goal on the horizon, maybe just a year away, and you really want your money to start pulling its weight. So today, we're going to break down 5 smart ways to make that happen.
So let's imagine for a second. You've got a specific goal. Maybe it's that trip to Europe you've been dreaming of, and it's just 12 months away.
You've already done the hard part, the really disciplined work of saving up a nice little sum of money. The foundation is all set. Well, leaving it in a standard savings account earning maybe 2 or 3%, that just isn't going to cut it, especially when you factor in taxes. Your money's barely growing at all. Okay, so let's dive into some much better options. All right, let's kick things off with the classic, super stable option, fixed deposits. You probably know them as FDs. So you can see right away, FDs offer a much more attractive return than your typical savings account. We're talking around 6.25% guaranteed, compared to a pretty measly 2 to 3%. If you're someone who values predictability and simplicity above everything else, an FD is a really dependable choice. But, and this is a big but, there's a major catch that comes with all that stability. The number one problem with a fixed deposit is that you completely lose your flexibility. And yeah, here's the painful part. If you need that money back before the term is up, you get hit with a penalty. That really promising 6.25% return can suddenly plummet down to 4%. That is a significant price to pay for breaking that agreement early. All right, so what if you're willing to take on a little bit more risk for a potentially bigger reward? Well, that brings us to our next option, corporate bonds. Now, the main risk you've got to understand with corporate bonds is something called default risk. And really, all that means is it's the chance that the company you loan money to, because that's what a bond is, a loan, might go bankrupt and can't pay you back your interest or your original investment. So a bond's credit rating is basically your guide to balancing this risk and reward. And check this out, AAA-rated bonds, the highest rating you can get, have a near zero chance of default, and they offer returns around 7 to 8%. Now, as you go down to AA or A-rated bonds, the potential return really jumps, but you also introduce a small but very real risk of default. But it's not just about the higher returns. Corporate bonds offer some amazing flexibility. You can often find one that matures in exactly 7 or 14 months, if that's what you need. A lot of them also provide a steady stream of income with monthly or quarterly interest payments. And the barrier to entry is super low. You can often get started with just 1,000 rupees. Okay, moving on. Let's explore a couple of options now for the really savvy investor who's looking for safety and tax benefits. We're talking about investment funds. So here we have liquid funds and arbitrage funds. And the choice between them, it's not just about the returns, it's about your main goal. You have to ask yourself, is my number one priority safety and having lightning fast access to my cash? Or is it about saving as much money as possible on taxes? The secret to why liquid funds are so safe? It's right here. They invest in really high-quality, short-term stuff, debt that matures in less than 91 days. This whole strategy keeps them incredibly stable and lets you get your money back, usually within just 1 business day. Now, arbitrage funds, they're like these clever market detectives. They're experts at finding tiny little price differences for the exact same stock in 2 different markets. Think of it like this. It's like finding a concert ticket for $50 from one seller and knowing you can instantly sell it to someone else for 51. The fund just does this thousands of times to lock in small, low-risk profits. And here is their superpower, the tax savings. See, because they hold a lot of stocks or equities, they get a tax break. So if you're in a high tax bracket, your gains from an arbitrage fund are taxed at a lower rate than your regular income, and that can save you a serious amount of cash. So we've looked at 4 really different options, right? From the super safe to the super tax savvy. Now, the big question is, how do you choose the one that's actually right for you? Let's just put it all together right here. This is your cheat sheet. If you're a cautious planner who just wants that guaranteed return, a fixed deposit is probably your best bet. If you're a serious investor, you're willing to take on some calculated risk for higher rewards, corporate bonds are the way to go. For those of you who just need quick access to your cash, liquid funds are absolutely ideal. And if you're a tax-savvy pro, well, arbitrage funds can save you a bundle. It's all about finding the right fit for your personality and your goals. So, what's the big takeaway here? At the end of the day, there is no magic bullet. The absolute best way to grow your money in the short term, it all depends on you, your goals, your timeline, and how much risk you're actually comfortable with. But now you have the tools to make a really informed choice. Thanks for joining this explainer.